Welcome to the College Admissions Process Podcast presented by Prep Expert. Prep Expert offers live online SAT and ACT courses with the best score guarantees, instructors, and curriculum. Go to prepexpert.com to guarantee your child's success. I'm also excited to share my book, Straight from the Admissions Office, a review of my biggest takeaways from the first few hundred podcast episodes. It's packed with direct insights from admissions professionals and practical tips to help students and their families navigate the college admissions process. You can find all of the information in the show notes. Welcome to The Cap, where we are here to speak with college reps and other professionals in the field of college admissions to help answer all your questions and guide you through every step of the process. So if you're serious about college admissions, you've come to the right place. Are you ready? Let's talk about it. And now, here's your host, Dr. John Durante. Welcome to The Cap, the College Admissions Process Podcast. I am your host, John Durante, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome Dr. Charles Cotton, who's the Vice Provost for Strategic Enrollment Management at Wayne State University. Dr. Cotton, it is an honor and pleasure to have you here today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the podcast today.
It is our pleasure, like I said. And so, Dr. Cotton, Wayne State is right in the heart of Detroit. How does the university's location shape the student experience academically, socially, and professionally?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. I think one of the points of distinction about Wayne State University is we're a top 100 nationally ranked institution in the country, a Research One institution, but we're located in an urban setting. And so there are very few schools like us with that same proximity. We're not in the suburbs of Detroit, we're in the heart of Detroit, right? And so we historically talk about what that means for our students is that they're at a campus with porous walls to the city, but realistically, in more recent years, we've actually removed that and set non-existent walls, right? This is a place where students have the opportunity to live, learn, and play in and alongside residents of the city of Detroit. That spans everything from, ways to decompress from a stressful exam to internships and work study opportunities that take shape both on our campus and outside of our campus. So it's an amazing sort of mix of academic expertise and professional exposure.
Well, as you mentioned, you're ranked in the top 100 nationally. You're a Research One institution and, of course, located in the heart of Detroit, Michigan, which is awesome. So community, as you mentioned, is so important in college. What traditions, clubs, or campus activities really stand out at Wayne State, and how do they help build a sense of connection for students, especially those coming from out of state or those that are commuting?
Yeah, great question. So something that's pretty important, I think, at institutions of higher education is how we welcome our students to campus each fall. At Wayne State, I think we have a very unique and exciting run of events and engagement opportunities during fall welcome. Everything from our Festival event, which is opportunity for students, of course, to connect with a wide variety of campus organizations, clubs, resources that exist on campus. But where we really take that up a notch is the sheer amount of individual or more affinity-based welcoming opportunities that exist. We're also the most diverse institution in the state of Michigan, and we represent a wide variety of regionally based students, in-state, out-of-state, international populations as well. And so the opportunity to embrace and welcome such a wide variety of students to our campus each year is something that I think is distinctively unique, but also how we prepare and educate students on how they're going to be engaging with a very diverse audience, not just of peers, but also of our faculty and staff, right, who work at the institution. Beyond that, though, that same sort of club aspect ranges everything from those that you may assume from Greek life organizations to squirrel watching club, right? And so, meaning we likely have something for you. And last but not least, again, speaking to that, live, learn, and play in Detroit, we have unique partnerships. We're the official educational partner with the Detroit City Football Club, meaning just this fall, for the first time, our students during fall welcome were all bussed over, had meal vouchers, cool, unique Wayne State DCFC swag, and was able to watch one of the most televised professional soccer teams in the entire United States play at home in a very unique game environment to help them decompress or tone down the stress for mom and dad leaving after drop off and preparing for those first weeks of classes. So a pretty cool environment that we have here.
Well, it's definitely a pretty cool environment. And I'm glad that I asked the question because you really talk to what you do to welcome all of these students from so many high schools, in state, out of state, what you do to welcome them from day one to build that
Mhm.
awesome Wayne State community. Now, Wayne State is classified as a top research university. You mentioned that you're a Research One institution. So, Dr. Cotton, what kinds of research opportunities are available to undergraduates, and how early can students get involved?
Yeah, essentially, I would say research for undergraduate students starts before day one. It actually starts in the recruitment process. We have some academic opportunities where students are exposed to or provided research opportunities after they are admitted or are competing for scholarship competitions. But for the mass majority of students who have interest in research at the undergraduate level, they'll get quickly connected with our UROP program. So that's our undergraduate research opportunity program at the institution, which is solely dedicated to finding and helping students match not only research interests, but to help them find scholarships, grant funds, potentially create new and unique research explorations if that's not somewhere where we already have faculty expertise. That research again may exist not only in Detroit but somewhere else nationally or globally. So Europe is a great opportunity for that said exposure.
Oh, I love hearing you say that research starts before day one of college. I've never heard that before, Dr. Khan. So I love that. And your Europe program seems amazing. That's your undergraduate research opportunity program. Now, aside from that, can you highlight a few other of Wayne State's most popular or distinctive programs, whether in health sciences, business, engineering, or the arts? And what sets them apart?
Yeah, so this is like a hard question for me. And mind you, I think somebody who's been in the space of enrollment management, admissions, attending college fairs all across the United States, lots of time in upstate New York, Buffalo, New Jersey, Rochester, all of the places, right? This is a very popular question from students. They come to college fairs, they ask the question about popular majors, and it took a while for me to get to this point about what is that student in particular interested in. But while it's actually a little bit more challenging for me to just list our distinctive programs compared to popular. You listed some of the populars just by nature of commonality. There's a high percentage of students graduating high school with natural interest in business, engineering, and the arts. But those four categories, including health sciences, all have very distinct connections for us here at Wayne State. Health being the fact that we were founded as a medical college, right? Back in the late 1800s by five Civil War veterans. And so that foundation, that care for people, community, et cetera, is actually more of what's distinct about the academic experience that you'll have at Wayne State that's woven through all of our academic disciplines. Whether you're hoping to become a lawyer in the future and you're, going from poli-sci or business to our law school, you'll still find that same sort of theme around supporting community, elevating others, social justice, et cetera, kind of rudimentary to how you navigate the work. But the other element, just about where we're located in Detroit, our school of business is the Mike Ilitch School of Business, right? Like it's right next door to the Little Caesars Arena. It's right across the street from the line from Ford Field, and all these other Rocket Mortgages right down the street in that corridor. Like you truly live and learn right in that space. So just as an example, I think what makes our programs mostly distinct is that it is very much hands-on elements. It's not just theory, right? You're able to put theory to practice relatively quickly.
Well, putting theory to practice and supporting community and elevating others. I love that mission and philosophy of Wayne State. And what kinds of academic support and transition services are in place to help students adjust to the rigor of college and succeed during their first year? Now, I know we touched upon this, but what else can you share with us?
Yeah, happy to discuss a little bit further. The awesome thing is that, like some other institutions, we have first year seminars, which is that opportunity for students to engage with campus that very first semester in a transition academic program, a one credit course, where they're engaging with faculty members from across campus, who have expertise in connecting students to passion areas or students to support areas. Beyond that, we have living learning communities that are thematic, whether you're coming in as a transfer student and want to engage not just with other transfer students, because truthfully, most transfer students want to engage with student culture more broadly, but we know people come with distinctive needs at that point in time. Or if you're a student just with a particular academic interest, a student in our honors college, et cetera. So it's a wide variety of what our living learning communities look like. A part of those transition services truly is foundational upon orientation. During our overnight and day programs for orientation, students have the opportunity to, one, get the accommodation set up that they may need. We sometimes talk about in higher education, you have students who maybe have accommodations at the high school level, didn't find themselves needing to use them much or at all, and assume it, I'll just transition to college and continue on in that same journey, but not really understanding there are new stresses that may emerge. And so it's typically in your best interest to seek those accommodations from day one, and ideally never have to use them in that state either, but it's better to be prepared than under prepared. We also recently launched, just this past April, Student Success 2.0. As every warrior rises, as you may know, Wayne State has been nationally recognized for our graduation and retention rates the past several years as a model for a significant increase in both those figures. We know that a one-size-fit-all approach can no longer take us to the next level that we want to get to. And so as a result of Student Success 2.0 was really us looking at personalized supports by affinity groups, by student types, by in-state students, out-of-state students, and being distinctive with their needs to find ways to support them. And so culminating with Student Success 2.0 was the launch of our Student Success Hub, which was a very large renovation to our library where we centralized a lot of supports that students need so that they don't have to go from building to building to get questions answered, but instead they have opportunities to engage directly with success coaches, academic advisors, career services, financial aid, and quite a few other resources, not just in that building. They may have other homes, but that you have a person that will walk you to and from those things that you need as well.
Well, I love hearing about your Student Success 2.0 program, and you mentioned your first year seminars, living learning communities, and the advice to students to seek those accommodations from day one. Students, you have to advocate for yourselves. And I mention all of these things because these are good questions for students and parents to ask
Yep.
reps when they see you on campus or even at a college fair. Do you have a first year seminar? Is there a living learning community? What does it entail? What is it about? And so, asking these questions, students and families are very, very important. Now, another thing that's very important to students and their families, Dr. Cotton, is that application review process. So when reviewing applications, how do you balance GPA, test scores, extracurriculars, and those essays to get a complete picture of an applicant?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. I've worked at several institutions, and in so many ways, there's no place like Wayne State. Our mission is our access focus, and that is something that is very much unwavering for us. So when we talk about balancing those things, we've been doing and reviewing holistic admissions before it became popular with institutions exploring test optional pursuits. So I think what's most critical for students when they're applying to institutions, particularly when you think about personalized essays or stories, is that it's super critical for us it's super critical for a student to find it within themselves to brag, right? Because we need to know all of you, or as much as you that you think will be relevant to your collegiate experience. But realistically, what's relevant is every facet of who you are, right? Because you're not just transitioning from one academic building to the next, you're transitioning life, right? For some students, that's 400 or 500 miles away from home. So that full-fledged identity development is key because that's what we're here to support. But in that same breath of bragging, it's important for you to be authentically yourself. It's not helpful for an AI generated essay to demonstrate your abilities because that fault will then show up while you're here, and then we'll have to figure out other ways to support you along that journey as well. So that's the biggest piece, realistically balancing it. We are looking at the culmination of not just academic successes, but where those academic struggles came and why. So being able to demonstrate that in personal statements can be helpful because that's the story to tell, right? The story is trying to figure out how we can ensure that you'll be successful along with the supports we provide to help you do so.
Well, I love the advice to the students. Don't be bashful to brag. And of course, you want them to be authentically yourself. Students, the application is about you. And we talk about it all the time on the podcast episodes. It's important to understand what each part of the application represents, how they're supposed to complement each other and build upon each other without necessarily repeating the same information throughout the entire application. So you want to use that marketing package to show off yourself in the best light. So again, brag and remember, be authentically yourself. Now, are there areas, Dr. Cotton, where you often see applicants where they could strengthen their overall application, whether in academics or in how they tell their personal story?
Yeah, and to a certain degree, this kind of piggybacks off the last question too, or at least my last response. Our commitment to access, our commitment to social mobility. Um, it's really important for us as we go through the holistic review process of student applications that, again, they are authentically themselves, but realistically the foundation to strengthening things is that storytelling. And the main reason within the storytelling it's critical for us is that's where we often identify, not just at Wayne State but many institutions, other opportunities for scholarship exploration. There could be something that a student says or discloses in that personalized essay that allows that admissions counselor to say, hey, if Samantha shows up here, I need to get her connected to Professor so and so because I think there's something there, right? It's the moment making that can emerge from that particular story. And that resonates significantly with us. So I really, encourage students to take the time to not just change the name of an institution when submitting that personal statement from one place to the next, but truly consider, is this a drastically different school or collegiate environment, right? It's a much different environment to attend Wayne State University than a rural, small, private, maybe even religiously affiliated institution, and making sure that the story that you're sharing is not to appease the school in which you're applying to, because that's not ever helpful either, but that essay really showcases what is relevant of you, that is why you're interested in that place, but also what is, again, authentically you, so that place can find those hidden gems, those hidden opportunities that you as a student likely aren't aware of.
More great examples as to why students, you have to be authentically
Yeah,
yourself. Well said, Dr.
the theme of
Cotton.
the day.
Absolutely. And I want to get back to Detroit itself because it is such a thriving city. And
Mhm.
of course, it's home to so many industries from healthcare to tech to the arts and so much more. How does Wayne State connect students with internships, co ops, or alumni networks to prepare them for careers after graduation?
Yeah, with over 3,000 living alumni, we have a wide variety of alums that we're able to engage students with. But something that's pretty unique to Wayne State, even compared to other institutions in our state, is a large percentage of our alumni are based in Michigan, which gives a unique proximity to engagement with our students, not just virtual opportunities, but it's a lot more in person opportunities to connect. Particularly when we think about the hub that is Detroit, and the amount of businesses and organizations that exist. We have a lot of our alums who are employed nearby, which thus creates this chain and this environment to want to engage with other potential students from their own programs or other programs. We launched just a little over 2 years ago our college to career effort, which was an embodiment of the fact that the collegiate space isn't just somewhere a student should come in thinking about what major they are interested in studying. Realistically, in lots of ways, that's backwards. Um, there are often lots of majors that can be affiliated with a very particular career. And so, what we really want to know, but can be harder for 16, 17, 18-year-old, is what sort of things do you want to do in life, right? Because you can become a dentist, a physician, a attorney from one of 300 different, bachelor's degree programs. But what we're really trying to scaffold for you is a career map, right, that helps you prepare for that actually via whichever channel is of most interest to you. I was a history and African American studies double major in undergrad, right? But I didn't make that full fledged commitment until I understood this career, this interest that I had in higher education was somewhat unique that I found out about that my first semester, freshman year of undergrad, had lots of different pathways to get there. So I could explore and study at the undergraduate level what naturally motivated me, which ultimately gives you more opportunities for academic success in the classroom and to apply that applicability. Within the city, though, of Detroit, and why the college to career effort is so unique and exciting is that we do have a wealth of partners that we're able to engage with to explore paid and, in some cases, unpaid internship opportunities, being able to utilize institutional aid to help fund some of those off campus experiences for our students with our partner organizations like DCFC, other sporting, theatrical organizations, Fortune 500 businesses. And it creates a very cool college and career fair that students have opportunities to engage with multiple times of the year. We have the come one, come all sort of larger resource fairs. And then we have those that are thematic by academic programs. For instance, our criminal justice and criminology program hosts their own resource fair from industry partners, both local and national. And our connection and, again, commitment to the city is that it's not just our collegiate students who are able to attend that, but we invite prospective students to some of those events as well.
Well, that's terrific that you invite not only your current students, but prospective students. And I love how you talked about the fact that Wayne State has a large number of Michigan based alumni, which clearly provides so many opportunities for those co ops and internships to your current students. And it's not just about your major. I really appreciated you talking about how you're very mindful about career pathways and really putting students on track, regardless of what their major is. You want to give them that focus of the career
Yeah.
path, which I think is tremendous. Another thing,
Well,
yes, sir, go ahead,
and if I could add one other
please.
thing too that I just failed to mention entirely, is similar to that, element of the things that start before you ever step foot on campus. Wayne State's committed to, and we've recently developed a wide array of career maps for students. That's something that our admissions counselors have and have been trained on to start those conversations with students as well. So that same sort of concept around, I know people have asked you 20,000 times what you think you want to major in, but let's start thinking about what is that sort of pre-enrollment element to career maps and what you can be doing as a high school student even to start figuring out what you truly like, not just the subject, but the types of things that you want to do for society.
Well, I think that's so important for students and their families to really put them on the right pathway, not only during their time at Wayne State, but also the pathway once they graduate in terms of a career.
For
Another thing
sure.
that's really important to students and their families is affordability, which of course is a huge factor for so many families and students out there. What types of scholarships, merit-based aid, or financial support programs does Wayne State offer, and how can students best position themselves for these opportunities?
Yeah, a wide variety of our aid is merit, but we also have, again, as our commitment to social mobility and ensuring that all students who are academically eligible could find themselves at an institution like Wayne State, is our commitment to a very large percentage of need-based aid. So as far as preparation is concerned, first step is, doing the hard work, the labor of love in the classroom right now, and every assignment matters, right? It's taking the academic pursuit in high school at one day at a time. Also understanding, given a holistic review process, it is never too late. A student on a journey where maybe they weren't as committed to their academic studies in their ninth grade can turn things around later on, but understanding that we're only reviewing, in many cases, 6 to 7 semesters of your academic credentials, not your complete high school record, before rendering an admissions decision. So again, it goes way back up to why it's so critical, potentially, if there is something, some form of a blemish in your academic record, to be able to truly speak to that and maybe how that is an outlier or not a true indication of what you are capable of. Beyond that, though, other things that are important to do, similar to what is referenced earlier, is again, share the things that you are engaged in. Get involved at the high school level, in those clubs, in those sports, in those out of school opportunities, if your lifestyle allows you to do so. And if not, very important for you in that essay to explain why that is not something that you had the privilege to partake in. To speak more specifically, though, to our age structure, we have various merit awards that range from as little as $500 to several $1,000s, depending upon academic credentials and standardized test scores for those who intend to apply to Wayne State, test informed. For those who apply just test optional, of course, we're considering that holistic review, but then there's a heavier weight on the standardized GPA. And then additionally, for our Michiganders, we have a couple unique scholarships too that I'd be remiss not to speak of because they are in some ways cutting edge for our state. We have the Wayne State Guarantee, which guarantees tuition and standard fees for any student whose household income is below $80,000 and net assets are below $50,000. We also have a Heart of Detroit award that guarantees a similar privilege to students irregardless of income, so long as they're a graduate of a DPSCD high school or a resident of Detroit, they get that benefit. But when we think about our out-of-state students, there's a large collection of benefits that culminate with honors college invitation to students who are interested in the medical profession, where our roots exist, where we have Wayne Med Direct, which guarantees 10 students full tuition covered, housing support, direct access to preparation programs for our medical school, and so long as they meet the criteria necessary throughout their undergraduate trajectory, a placement into our medical school as well.
Well, that was a comprehensive explanation of the affordability part of Wayne State. And thank you so much for all of the different insights. This has been a terrific conversation. Unfortunately, Dr. Compton, we're getting to the end of it. But before I ask the last question, I always like to ask, is there a question I didn't ask you today or a topic I didn't bring up that you'd like to share with our audience now?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think in lots of ways we've sort of touch base on a lot of the stuff that makes Wayne State special, right? I mean, it's really circling back to there's the right amount of sauce in this city at this institution. The grit of Detroit that you feel that spirit on our campus, right? You feel this culture of faculty and staff. So maybe a question-ish, that is often shared by institutions of higher education realistically as a point of parity when we talk about we have faculty that care. I've never been on a college visit or at a college fair where they said anything besides that, right? But that is truly authentic here. You'll see across our campus that our faculty aren't just engaged in study groups with our students or even just attending the sporting event that a student in their class happens to participate in, but that our faculty and staff are actively engaged in the community and bring our students with them, right? Which gives folks a unique exposure irregardless if they have any intention in staying in Michigan, staying in the city of Detroit, but just the connection to town gown relationships that I think our graduates take with them to their employers wherever else they may go, right? They're asking the probing questions around, okay, and so what are we doing in the backyard in which we're housed, right? Whether we're a front facing organization or if the work that we do is maybe more or less behind the scenes. Hey, my undergraduate experience at prepping for accounting, we were volunteering and giving back to the local community in that way, but we were also doing financial counseling or financial aid, financial literacy awareness for the younger generation so that they would be better positioned in the future. That sort of social care is something I think we could all use a bit more of, but it's something our students are uniquely prepared for because of faculty and staff that care about those things as well.
There's no question that we can all use a little bit more of that. And you've done a phenomenal job really emphasizing the community feel that you have at Wayne State University. As I said, unfortunately, it is the last question here today, which is what are your top 3 pieces of advice for students and families preparing for the college admissions process?
Yeah, I think the first one is start early. Reach out to us or schools that you have interest in now, or just the school that's close by. I think I've come across many students who say, "Well, no, I don't want to bug you at the college fair because I don't have any interest in your school. I'm just standing here because my friend has it." I'm like, well, I don't bite. Like, happy to just answer collegiate questions for you as well too. And then the next thing you know, the student says something along the lines of, "Yeah, I'm super interested in education." And then you tell them, "Did you know we're actually like one of the top 10 programs," or something along those lines? And they find out things that they don't know, right? That can be life changing. So the rationale behind starting early is as you start engaging with those collegiate institutions as early as ninth grade, right? You're not bothering them. That's what they're there for. You may catch some of the gems that help guide your collegiate prep trajectory. Second thing I would say is ask the question, not ask questions more broadly, ask the question. And that question being the one that maybe you think is stupid or embarrassing, but if you don't know the answer, that might be the question that's life-changing, right? It may be the one thing that somebody shares with you that totally switches what you decide to pursue, where you decide to go. My third piece of advice would be try your best to visit schools, whether in person or virtual, just so you start to get a sense of feel. You spend so much more time outside of the classroom than in the classroom, but you do spend all of your time learning, right? We're all lifelong learners as well, too. And so having a clear understanding of what are the other pieces, the intangibles that you may pick up from the environment that you'll be in, and is that a place in which appears to bring you joy, because the classroom can be stressful on occasion as well. And if I can add a bonus, complete the FAFSA. Irregardless of what your income level is or you perceive it to be, each school may utilize that FAFSA free application for federal student aid just a tad bit differently, and even determining what sort of institutional aid they may be able to provide you with. So it is always in your benefit.
Well, this is tremendous advice, and I cannot thank you enough for being here. Obviously, Wayne State is so lucky to have you, as were we during this conversation. Dr. Cotton, I hope to have you again.
Yeah, thank you. I love the joy.
Our pleasure. And to everyone out there, good luck with the college search. Take care all, and best wishes. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The CAP, the College Admissions Process Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please don't forget to tell a friend. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. I am your host, John Durante, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The CAP. Thank you for listening to the College Admissions Process Podcast presented by Prep Expert. Prep Expert offers live online SAT and ACT courses with the best score guarantees, instructors, and curriculum. Go to prepexpert.com to guarantee your child's success.